The movie was acted based on a true life story that has been appeared during the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, which claims at least 1 million lives and tell us about the tension between the Hutu and Tutsi people that led to civil war, and finally that was being a genocide. The genocide has been carried out by the Hutu military force and the group named Interahamwe, and they believed that Rwanda is Hutu's land, and as Tutsi is being a minority, they invaded the country in collaboration with the colonist Belgium, and again they believed that as if they come back again as a Tutsi rivals. They even had a propaganda through ITLM Hutu Power Radio and started the genocide against Tutsi. Following, the president was murdered by the Tutsi rebels after the peace agreement was signed. Generally, the movie focused on the real story of the event at the Hotel Mill colony during the genocide. The main character of the movie was Paul Rusesabagina, who married a woman named Tatiana, and she is from the Tutsi tribal, even if he is from a Hutu tribal. And they had lived a happy life with their children before the war started. Paul was the hotel manager, and he has been delegated for additional responsibility after the general manager has left the country during the war, and he allows refugees to take a shelter in the hotel that caused him to save more than 1,000 people's life. Generally, the film shows us how Paul struggled, how he used his management and emotional intelligence skill to lead his team and the refugee, the extra mile that he went, and the decision that he made to save his family and others left during the genocide even after the main force were pulled out. The next part will be presented by one of our group members. Thank you.
Thanks, Hinok, for handing me over. Today I will discuss about Paul's leadership traits and characteristics in a movie. Before that, we need to know who is the leader. Leader is the individual who lead, influence, and guide others. There are the number of qualities which make an ordinary man to a successful leader. There are four categories and a number of the subcategories such as self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship management are main categories. Further, they are breakdown in a number of qualities such as emotional awareness, empathy, initiative, communication, etc. Today we will discuss which qualities made Paul manager of the hotel, a leader and a hero of the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. Leaders motivate others to achieve goals, develop trust, interest, and risk-taking behavior in their team. There are a number of qualities and different styles of leadership, such as influence, focus, communication, courage, selfness, and willpower. Power. Working as a hotel manager, Paul was a tough manager whose motive was to get all the work done in a specific manner and on a time. During genocide, his motive was focused on saving his family and the neighbors, but as time and the situation worsened, Paul transformed to the effective leader, such as he engaged his staff and assigned them different duties, took advantage of his relations and communication to achieve the goal to save lives of the other people. In the movie, Paul transformed from being a tough and rigid manager to a polite, caring, and from me to us approach makes him a hero of the war. Paul character in a movie is a right example of how someone with a low AI can transform to the high AI, such as he transformed to the tough to the polite manager and caring leader. In the beginning, he hardly had any leadership skills and the people did not believe in him. But due to his efforts towards his goal, they came close to each other, believed him, and followed his instructions in the massacre. as we already discussed the qualities of leader, now we will talk about the traits. There are a number of traits and the characteristic in leadership, but today we will discuss about Paul, what traits and the characteristics he had in a movie. Like empathy, this is the ability to understand and become aware of others feelings and thoughts and help engage workers. Try to see things from others' perspectives too and act accordingly. According to the Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, empathy makes you a better innovator. This quote fits Paul. He is from the Hutu tribe and his wife Tatiana belongs to the Tutsi tribe. He was very much aware of the friction between the two groups as a good human being, and by having a close relationship with the Tutsi group, he was aware of the pain and the threat of the life faced by the Tutsi people. When a civil war erupted in Rwanda, he saw his Tutsi neighbors getting killed, so that he negotiated with the captain and brought safely his other neighbors to the hotel, which he thought was a safe place to take shelter. The second trait of the leadership is the initiative. Initiative is the successful leaders have the following traits in them. Do not wait for someone else to tell them what to do next. In the movie, Paul set a real example of a true leader. He did not wait for commands, etc. to react, and he started helping Tutsi group when everyone was afraid. Second, think on their feet and take appropriate action. When war crimes started in Rwanda, Paul brought Tutsi neighbors to the hotel because it was a safe place to take shelter as the hotel was from the Democrats and the security. Also, the leaders are the proactive rather than the reactive. Proactive leaders anticipate the future and act accordingly. As an example, in the movie, Paul asked the hotel receptionist to erase all the names of the guests so that if there is an inquiry, then nobody knows who is staying in the hotel. Fourth, appear flexible, confident, and courageous is the character of the leader. Paul had the courage to save the lives of the people in a tense situation. Also, the leaders spot and take advantage of the opportunities that others pass by. He knew how to form relations with the high-profile guests he met during his work and use them during emergencies. Due to his relationship management, he got the opportunity to talk with Democrats and eventually save the lives of the lots of people. Last but not least, I will talk about the effective communication trait. It is a process of effectively telling and passing your thoughts thoughts to achieve the goal. Paul was an effective communicator. He knew who to approach and in what manner to get the solution to the problem. He was pretty good at building relations and knew how to please guests to get the work done. Example, he communicated to General Mbibinzi Mungu not to participate in war crimes by convincing him to believe that the UN was spying on him through satellites. Also, when the hotel's employee Gregor leaked the news to his group Hutu that the truck carrying Tutsi refugees is on the way, so that the refugee can be killed. Paul effectively communicated the whole situation to General Bizimungu and again took help from him in escorting the refugees safely. He approached Jack Daglish, Democrat, to help the hotel refugees to leave the besieged hotel. In movie, Paul set the example of an effective communicator. Now I will hand over to the Suzanne to take to you the depth in the leadership effectiveness.
To continue with the discussion that the first speaker in the Hotel Rwanda Group 6 spoke about, I'll be talking about the leadership effectiveness at the level of the team. So this morning, I will be talking about trust and how leaders create and maintain trust among team members. Leaders must avoid the 5 temptations below, which include tendency to enjoy the status that comes with their roles, the dangerous need to be liked by people, the need to ensure that their decisions are correct, and the tendency to prevent harmony even when there is need for a good fight, and lastly, the tendency to maintain an air of invulnerability among the people that they lead. There was trust between the leader Paul and the team members, as Paul created trust by enhancing an avenue for effective communication between himself and his team members. He also avoided the danger of being liked by others, as well as enjoying the status that came with his position as the manager. He also did his duties well and even other people's duty when the need called for. For instance, when he was serving wine to the military and also other duties. On this slide, I'll be talking about trust and how leaders create and maintain trust among team members. For leaders to maintain trust, they must have the following characteristics, which include sincerity, reliability, commitment, integrity, as well as consistency. Paul maintained trust by being true to his word. He was honest and had integrity at all times with his team members and as well as his family. He stood with the whole team instead of running away at the peak of the killing. He was reliable as the people as well as the team trusted him with their lives by coming to the hotel for refuge. He showed commitment to his duty as the manager by consistently dressing officially to work on a daily basis, not minding the risk to his life and that of his family. Next, I'm going to talk about how the leader handled conflict. Paul was able to handle conflict at different times. For example, when the military men came to the hotel to have it evacuated. He didn't allow fear to take over his reasoning. Rather, with calmness and good thinking, he was able to make the right decision, to secretly call his boss and other important personality to handle the conflict. On this slide, I'll be talking about the team engagement. To encourage team engagement, the needs of the team members must be met according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And on this pyramid shown on the slide here, we have different levels of need. We have the basic level, the psychological level that takes care of the psychological need and the self-fulfillment needs. Now, under the basic need, which is at the base of the pyramid, we have the provision for food, water, warmth, and rest, followed by the safety need, which is also one of the basic needs. The different team members were engaged because their needs were taken care of. For example, the team members during the conflict were in need of basic supplies like food, water, shelter, as well as safety, which was the number one thing and the basic. These were all provided by the manager, who ensured he bought food and other necessities during the conflict. They knew what was expected of them at work because their basic need and their basically were supplied and their mind was at rest. They each contributed to their work by meeting organizational goals and purpose, as well as feeling a sense of belonging and commitment to the hotel. They worked collaboratively to ensure that despite the situation in the country at that time, the hotel was still running. For example, the staff of the hotel continued to do their work diligently. Next, I'll talk about how the team achieved engagement. According to the Gallup Q12, leaders' behavior makes the biggest change in employees' engagement. And according to the 5 dysfunctions of a team, as listed by Patrick Lencioni, which included absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, inattention to results. If these 5 dysfunctions of a team is removed, the team will achieve engagement. In order to achieve this team engagement, the team must avoid the 5 dysfunctions of the team according to Lencioni as shown in the pyramid. The team must be committed to their work, following the building of trust by the team leader. When there is trust between the leader and the team members, conflict is seen as an opportunity to achieve a better result when done in moderation. Every team member will be committed to their work, and each of them will also be accountable to the outcome of the results. Paul was able to achieve team members' engagement through effective communication with the team, as well as through the provision of their basic need, as mentioned in the slide above, according to the Maslow hierarchy of needs. This you see in the previous slide. Paul led by example. He displayed his involvement and engagement in the hotel business. As usual, despite all the challenges he faced, he never gave up nor showed the team how much he was gripped with fear. Rather, he was comported he comported himself in a responsible and fearless manner. On this slide, I'll be talking about leaders' ability to influence. Balancing the use of power is the key to being able to influence your followers or your team members. According to Jacqueline Lydon 2022, maximize your influence by instructor. Now, 5 types of leaders' power under position power and personal power include legitimate, reward, coercive, expert, and reference. Paul had a balance of power between hard or positional power and soft or personal power, as he knew when to exercise authority. For example, when the employee was in the kitchen gathered in one place listening to the news on the radio and doing nothing, Paul used his authority as a manager to order them to go back to their various duties and work. Paul's leadership ability to influence was based on his effective communicative style with the team members and with the people. He was able to act both with his positional power when the need arose, as well as with his personal and soft power, which was due to his expertise as the hotel manager. The team members responded to his balance of power through their commitment to their work. On this slide, I will be discussing the principle that was at work at the Hotel Mike Collins. The principles at work at the Hotel Mike Collins were some of the ones listed according to the principles of persuasion, which included reciprocity, authority, consistency, and liking. Under reciprocity, the general wanted to do him a favor. I met Paul just because Paul had done him so many favors in the past prior to the conflict. Under authority, his team followed him because he was a credible person who worked effortlessly and had good communication with his team and even the people around him. They liked him and they followed his authority. Under the consistency, his team was influenced also by the consistency at work. Despite the situation of the country at that time, Paul was still consistent in his daily duties. He was consistent with his role as a manager. He also ensured that he dressed corporately to work like every other day prior to the genocide. For example, Paul had authority as a manager and he made use of it when the hotel staff stopped working. The team member continued to follow his authority as their leader. Though there was a team member that stopped obeying his command or authority because of the diversity caused by the conflict. But that member was checked with time. Communication champion. In this slide, according to Why Leaders Communicate by Jacqueline Lydon, 2022 note, the reason to communicate accordingly was to inspire their followers or the team members to encourage productivity and drive for results, as well as to inform critical information. In this movie, the leader Paul was a communicative champion because he knew how to communicate effectively at all times. He chose his choice of words, he knew when to speak and the right means of communication. He was very approachable to the team members as well as his neighbors. He was also able to connect with the team and the people in the community as well. He was an expertise in his position as demonstrated by building his effective personal relationship with each other and everyone connected to him. He solved problems and conflicts with ease because of his effective communication. I would therefore say that both the team members and the leaders were effective in their communication. They understood each other without any sort of barriers in their communicating style, which was why he was able to secretly tell his team at the reception to delete all the names of the people in the hotel list without the military men knowing. It was also because of Paul's effective communication that he was able to convince the general to send help to save the refugee at the hotel. He had good emotional intelligence at work with others both the UN commander, the general, the military, as well as the hotel team members. On this slide, I will discuss diversity and how it was represented in the movie. As we all know, diversity involves differences among people in terms of the list as shown below in the puzzle cards. With the picture on the slide from the Hotel Rwanda scene, diversity was shown in the aspect of religion, nationality, job level, race, gender, culture, etc. Diversity in the movie was represented in terms of values and attitude, as the international leaders and organizations can be said to have a stereotypic behavior which made them to discriminate the black race by leaving them behind in the hotel to save themselves. There was also diversity in terms of ethnicity between the Hutus and the Tutsi, leading to the conflict. This diversity had a lot of impact in the team functioning. And here I'm going to mention the team according to the different diversity involved here. With diversity in terms of skills, the United Nations team was able to convey the refugee in the hotel to the refugee camp for safety. And with respect to diversity in perspective, the hotel owner who was in Belgium was able to intervene through higher authority when the military people came to invade the hotel and to kill the people that were lodged there. With the diversity of thought, the people who took refuge in the hotel started calling their families members outside the Rwanda, asking them to send interventions, which was what gave them the intervention that was received at the end of the day. In this, I'll be able to say that diversity played a big role with the killings of over 1,000 people in Rwanda. And I'm going to leave the remaining slide to the other group members to discuss as appropriately. Thank you.
Watching Hotel Rwanda, we have learned how Paul's leadership skills have been constantly challenged and that it requires very good people skills in order to achieve your goals, along with the technical knowledge necessary in that particular industry. Three lesson examples that could be used in the real business world would be communicating effectively, problem solving and working with dysfunctional teams, and influencing relationships. Communicating effectively. Communication is key in the workplace and often not seen as an important skill when dealing with others. Communicating with others gives us a better understanding of the situation and the chance to have everyone's opinions heard before reaching a conclusion. An ego-free attitude and seeking your team's opinions could improve communication while everyone will feel valued and part of that one team. Effective communication builds trust and motivates teams, and the more we communicate, the more trust we build. Trust is the foundation of a team. People should feel comfortable to engage in productive conflict. Choosing the right channel to deliver the message. Choosing a face-to-face meeting or going for a video conference or telephone conversation when an in-person meeting is not an option gives the opportunity to better connect with the other party while observing behaviors that would otherwise be missed. In our movie study, the most important and urgent conversations with the leaders that had the most power to change the current situation were face-to-face and over the telephone. Give feedback. Providing a timely and specific information about a task will improve the team's performance. When giving feedback, leaders should focus on the future and not past events and focus on the performance and not the person. Poor communication may result in lack of trust, misunderstanding, decreased motivation, and even losing your best employees. Poor language and not being clear and concise will leave the team confused with no clear direction. Inappropriate channels. Leaders should make sure they use the high richness channels to reach their followers. Our
main character had exceptional communication skills, being able to lead unmotivated and disloyal employees and influence and persuade people in high places to achieve his goals. Problem solving and working with dysfunctional teams. Problem solving is understanding the situation and doing something to move forward. Being able to problem solve gives you the ability to understand what the issue is and provide a solution to correct the situation. Working in a team, and especially a diverse team, provides different views and multiple solutions to a problem. Having to deal with a dysfunctional team, most of the hotel decisions were made by the manager himself. But as per Lencioni, the causes of dysfunctions are identifiable and curable. And in a real business situation, we would address the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Absence of trust. Again, communication is key in building trust. Fear of conflict. Provide constructive feedback and encourage conversations. Lack of commitment. Recognize and celebrate positive behaviors. Avoidance of accountability. Ask the team what went wrong and transform conflict into a teachable moment. Inattention to results. Address wrong behaviors right away and keep the staff accountable so they can achieve the organization's goals. Influencing relationships. Leadership is an influencing relationship to achieve the desired outcome. Paul illustrates 2 leadership styles, charismatic and transformational. Charismatic leadership. It relies on strong communication skills which are vital in building relationships. The charm and the persuasiveness of the leader. Charismatic leaders have a clear vision, are open to risks, and know how to emotionally connect with others, displaying highly emotional intelligence levels. Through their commitment to their work, these leaders are able to inspire and create loyal teams with strong problem-solving skills. Transformational leadership focuses on inspiration and motivation to create change that will help grow and shape the future success of the organization. Gives the employee the opportunity to be creative, to solve problems and move forward. It empowers and gives a sense of independence and ownership. This is the opposite of micromanaging that today's leaders still hold on to. Hotel Rwanda movie is a summary and a permanent reminder of the 1994 genocide that took place in Rwanda, a small country in Eastern Africa. The movie follows the story of Paul, the main character and manager of Hotel des Mille Collines, and the extraordinary man that was able to save his family and the lives of over 1,000 refugees by sheltering them into his hotel. While at the very beginning Paul appeared to be lacking any leadership skills, manipulating people and being a rigid manager, he was able to go through a transformational journey and become a successful leader in the end. We can conclude that managing and leading are continuous processes requiring constant learning and adjustment to the circumstances and making the right decisions at the right time.